A man claims to have flown a UFO with his mind. His name, Chris Bledsoe. And he is considered the most credible and most investigated UFO experiencer of all time. His story is absolutely fascinating. He's got many of them. I'm going to be playing 2 different clips for you today about Chris Bledsoe, and you can make up your own mind. I found his story absolutely fascinating, and I think you will too. So let's jump in and take a look. Hi, Vetters. I'm Patrick. This is Vetted. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, hit that like button. That really helps us out a lot. And of course, comment down below of what you think of Chris Bledsoe's story. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, y'all. We put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, USA. Let's go. So Chris Bledsoe was recently on the Danny Jones podcast. I'll be playing a clip from this, and of course, as always, sharing all the links so you can dive deeper into this stuff. Let's just start with the clip, and we'll just go from there, y'all.
I looked and it said 3 a.m. and I could see movement in my room, and it looked like these shadowy figures that we've been used to seeing.
So I've got 2 different stories he's going to tell. This first one is him talking about these shadowy figures. He's going to run into this lady that's floating. A sort of see-through bowl runs over him. There's a black hole. There's a lot going on. The second clip I'm going to play is about him talking about flying a UFO with his mind. So just keep that in mind. So this is the first clip.
They were at the bed, foot of my bed, these shadowy figures. And what they did, I don't know. They put me in some sort of trance-like thing to where I got out of bed. I was in just my underwear. I put on full jeans, pants, shirt, shoes, and I walked right out the back door following them. And we went back out to the dog kennel, to where everything had happened before, right? Just right up to the dog kennel. And just before we got to the kennel, one of these beings stopped and turned and handed me this object with 2 hands, just like this, handed it to me. And I reached out and I took it. It said, "This is yours, you must keep." So when I grabbed it, it felt like a hedgehog. It's prickly. It wasn't hurting, but it was prickly, and it felt like it was a living, like a dog, but it had no head or no legs. I could see it, but it scared me really bad the way it hit my hand. So I dropped it on the ground. This voice said, "No, you must keep that. This is yours, you must keep." So I reached down to pick it up. And when I did, when I stood up, they were gone. There was no more beings in front of me. And I thought, what am I going to do with this thing? And I'm juggling it, and I'm thinking quick. And so I opened the dog kennel, and I set it in the kennel and closed the door, thinking, you'll be safe there. I don't know what it is. This has all happened so quick. And the minute I closed that door, I stood up, and this blast of wind, it was so strong, this wind. It was a mighty wind, but it was localized. It wasn't the trees around me. It wasn't the forest. It was a blast of air in a circle in front of me that the tree, this oak tree in front of me, just disappeared into a black hole. And out of that hole came this wind, which pushed me backwards really quick. It was like so fast, it caught me off balance. And I fell all the way to my back, flat in the leaves. And as I'm falling, I could see what looked like a 1,500-pound bull, a cow, come out of that hole, ran right over top of me. And I could see through it. I could see the stars right up through it, but I could see this bull. And so I land on my back, and I roll to my stomach. And when I roll, and I'm trying to get up, right? I'm going to run. It happens within seconds. I hit my back. I roll to my stomach. I'm facing the other way. So I'm trying to get to my knees and to my feet to run, to know where this thing went. And immediately, the cow wasn't there. It was a woman, beautiful beyond measure. She was glowing, this bluish white color, and she had this white dress on that sparkled when it was flowing, dress just moved, and it looked like an old Roman dress. It went all the way to her feet, and sleeves out to her hands here, and a collar. There's a painting of her right there. That was done.
You painted this?
No, the man standing to me is a famous artist from New York, Doug Auld, and Doug painted that just out of what I described to him. You can see the bull to the right there, and there's actually a triangle on her chest. He put it on there, and pretty crazy. That painting's big, but her face is different, but that's similar to what was in front of me. 3 foot.
3 foot floating in front of you.
Yeah, 3 foot off the ground, but 6 foot away from
6
me.
foot away. And the size of her, was it like the normal size of a human?
She was smaller.
Smaller? See-through? Could you not see through?
No, she was solid as you are, yeah. But her mouth wasn't moving, but I could hear her plain as day talking to me. But she was hovering, barefooted, just like that, 3 feet off the ground, and she looks at me. I'm just in this biggest shock. Words can't describe how the power I felt from this wind and this bull run me over, and the fear that set in, flight. I had to run, I had this instant fear hit me. But now I'm looking at this woman, so that whole fear thing turned into, oh my God, what is this? Is this an angel? What am I looking at? She leans over and she looks at me and she says, this is your burden. She said, you know why I'm here? And I knew why she was there, because I had struggled internally for 5 years. These orbs come and it talks telepathically. I hear them. And we proved this on the History Channel, live with Andy, right? They knew that.
So he was on Beyond Skinwalker, and I've got a link to a clip of them showing that. Basically, they hooked up this, real quick, I'll show you. They hooked up this thing to his head right here. You can see that, right? And he's looking up. Look, even producer says he sees one. And they had, they're basically scanning his brain waves and seeing how he acted when he could, because he claims he can, summon the UFOs, these orbs. I'll be honest, there was some interesting stuff with the brainwaves. There was a neuroscientist there who was like, yeah, this is unusual. So I'm going to put a clip to that so you can watch that if you want. But that's what he's talking about. I wouldn't say that it was proven. That's a little misleading, right? The results are just like, there's some interesting things here. But it wasn't like it was proven. So that's a little misleading what he's saying.
My brain was communicating with the orbs, even though I wasn't moving. We did this on camera.
Again, that's a little misleading. You should watch the clip of the Skinwalker and see, watch for yourself.
And neuroscientists measuring my brain waves, they could tell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd had for all these years this overwhelming desire to tell the world. And the more I told it, the worse it got, the worse ridicule, and it spilled over to my children. So that's why I was ready to quit. But she said, this is your burden. You got to bear. And she said several things. And this is, I've been telling this for a long time about the times we're in now. We're in some pretty weird times, right? But she told me about that. And I put it out there in 2012. This happened Easter of 2012. She said, there's going to be trouble coming. And we're going to wake the people up. And we're going to let you do it. We're going to use you. We want to help you. Introduce us to the world. That's what she said. And she told me about an alignment. She said, there's going to be, she said, when the star of Regulus, arises on the horizon in the gaze of the Sphinx, at that time there will be a shift in the knowledge of humanity. That's what she said. I didn't know what it meant. I had no clue if this star would align on
Star of a regulus?
Regulus, a star called Regulus. When it aligns on the gaze of the Sphinx before daylight, when that star comes up and it's right up just above the horizon, like the orbs last night, right on the ground, in view of the Sphinx, there'll be a shift in the knowledge. There'll be a new knowledge for humanity. So I told that. Also saw visions of trouble that would happen beforehand, which is we've been having weird troubles, right? So I'm not a prophet, and I don't want to claim to be, but I did say this in 2012, and I've said it for the last, 11 years, and it's all happening. So the amazing thing is, Danny, is I went from totally quitting and announcing it to the heavens, I'm never going to do this again, to a new, renewed energy of now what am I going to do? If I tell this about the lady, they're going to come lock me up. They're going to think I'm crazy for sure. Mm-hmm. So I didn't say anything for a while. And 2 weeks later, a week later, I had vowed not to ever speak about it again. 1 week later, I get a call from MUFON saying, we want you to talk in Asheville, North Carolina, which is 6 hours away. And I read.
So, okay, I'm going to go to this next clip. Again, I'll put a link to this so you can watch the whole thing if you want to learn more about him. And basically, he ended up having more communications with this lady on multiple occasions, and she's told him lots of different things. Now, one of the predictions that he talks about happening, that the trouble's coming is like, basically conflict in the Middle East, right? That Israel was going to fire on, I believe he said, Iran and Saudi Arabia and, these sorts of things. And I'll be honest, I mean, just being real, that's a pretty easy prediction to make, that eventually that's going to happen. It's not like he gave specific dates. He just said in the future. I mean, that's easy to say. That's like somebody saying, yeah, in the future there will be war. Yeah, we know. In the future there will be famine. Okay, there will be diseases. It's like these are very general things to predict. Now, again, I'm not saying anything about a story. I'm just saying. But what? I watched this whole interview, and I actually watched the Chris Bledsoe one too. That's like 5.5 hours, guys. So it was a lot. I watched it in bits, but yeah, I've been watching it in bits. So. I don't know. I mean, if I'm honest, like he seems pretty credible to me, Chris Bledsoe. Like if you just hear him talk for a long time and the way he explains things in stories, forget what he's saying, just how he says it. He just seems so calm, and I don't know. Just doesn't have a lot of the trademarks of people trying to be deceptive. I'll be honest. He just seems very genuine and. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just my instinct. Again, forgetting what he's saying, right? Just how he's saying it. So anyway, but then I did find this next clip. And again, this is audio only, okay? So you're not going to see him saying it, but this is him talking about it. An interview he did with Grant Cameron. And he has a lot of interviews out, so feel free to Google him and do the deep dive. But I will admit, this is interesting right here. So let's just listen and let's just go for it. This is the clip you've been waiting for.
To the craft, from the outside, it's shaped like an egg, and it's faceted, but in the shape of a beehive. Now I'm looking at the outside of the craft. The skin, that's what the skin appears like on a tiny...
And that's not me doing the audio, y'all. That's just how it is. It's mono audio, so just... I've got it as high as it'll go, okay? I've got the closed captioning on so you can listen to him talk about it.
Form, real little tiny, like honeycombs. But as it becomes alive, this craft, these honeycombs expand and get bigger. The little ones turn into big ones. Okay, so entering into the craft, there's this this round area towards the front, and there's this pedestal that looks sort of like a raised area on this, near this console. It's like a pedestal, and on top of it is a beehive, half of a beehive, like half of a basketball size, that size, but not quite round. But it's kind of black carbon fiber texture on the outside, but in the shape of honeycomb. Everything's like a honeycomb, but micro, tiny. But when I laid my hand on it, they showed me to lay my hand on it. And when I did, where my hand was turned into this deep purple violet color, and then it began to change that color. And it went through the purples and blues into the green, and then it got to this aqua color, like an aquamarine. The whole thing lit up, this pedestal. And it all happened in a very quick manner, all in just put my hand on it, pull it away, it cycles colors, boom, it lights up, and then the inside of the glass began to light up. And that's when I see from the inside the same texture as on the outside of the glass. Millions of little tiny honeycombs began to glow. Sort of like LED dots. That's how I would describe them. They're tiny. I'm looking at them on small scale, but then they begin to rotate. Each one, they're like mechanical gears. You see it as a connection to the craft. The craft becomes alive, and it turns into this geometric, huge honeycomb shapes. All the little ones are going now, they're great big. And then after all that startup process happens, all of them, just seconds really, is a part of me. If I look at something and I want to be there, that's where we go. And it keeps you, it leads you, it guides you, it's with you. I've never seen a stick that you drive it by. It's always been just thought. And I had the greatest time going down the river, just shouting. I can see sitting cross-legged on the floor, looking through the front of the craft, and it's clear as glass. And I'm right down on top of the water, just screaming down the river. I went through the connection process because it's surreal. The sound, the everything all happens very quick. But you become a part of that machine. That metal is actually has almost like a soul to it. The craft does. Becomes maybe you into a machine somehow, but that's very intelligent.
So there you go. He just talks about using his thoughts and his mind to just where he looked, and that's where it would go, and it would lit up. It became alive, and the craft became him, right? I mean, there was the closed captioning was a little iffy. A lot of it wasn't right. It kept saying crap when it was craft. But anyway, I hope you can understand that. I'll put a link to it so you can, check it out on your own. But that's interesting. He's just got a lot of interesting stories of just different things, all kinds of different experiences. And I think that's why he's been so fascinating. And he is fascinating to listen to. He's very calm and steady with it and just very matter of fact with these stories. So I don't know. Curious to read the comments on this one. What do y'all think? And his stories. Again, he's got a book out too. I think it's called like UFO God or UFO and God or that sort of thing. Again, there's this whole conversation about this, the beings being spiritual and godly and this and that. I don't know, guys. There's a lot to take in. So my question is just really, it's quite interesting just to have all these different experiences. Right, you're flying a UFO, you're meeting some woman, she's got a bowl, there's a black hole, little shadowy figures giving you little objects you put in kennels, like headless dogs prickly things. You know, you fly UFOs, you see them, you can, call orbs, you sort of communicate with them. They give you stories. I mean, he's saying that woman told him, we chose you to help us bring us to this world. Well, when is that going to happen? Because it's been, that I don't know when that story happened, 2009 or something like that. That's been a long time. It's been almost 15 years. So when is the story going to come out? Right? I don't understand the point. Like, what was the plan to get the story out, to introduce her and her species to the world? Was it just the idea was he would just go on podcasts and talk about it? I don't know. Again, but I'm just talking about a story, not him, the credibility, any of that. Again, I listened to the guy and I'm like, man, it sounds like he's telling the truth, right? But what he's saying is just bonkers. Okay, it is. It is. Again, I'm not saying it's not possible. We don't know everything that's possible. So I'm completely aware of the fact that there could be things I don't understand. Okay, I get that. I'm just saying, it's just, again, because you've got all these people with all kinds of different stories. Can they all be true? Are there really just a bazillion different species and different types of things visiting us and fucking with us and doing things with us and all kinds of different things? I don't know. That just sounds so crazy. Right? So I don't know, man. This is interesting. Again, can't wait to read the comments. All right, so I'm going to play a quick clip of a little teaser for tomorrow's video of what I'm going to be talking about. So here it is. Again, this is Ryan Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe's son.
It's crazy. You asked me just a little bit ago if I've had experiences on the level of my dad or whatever. No. I have seen entities, but it's like a flash. It's like, it's not like Dad where they stop and they say what's up and they show you the symbol on their chest and they're like, it's not like that. It's more so like I see it and I lock eyes with it and then it's gone. Or like one time
where?
And around the house, in the living room, in my bedroom, front yard, walking through the yard, wherever, it doesn't matter. It's happened on 3 or 4 occasions.
So there's a quick little teaser. His story is very interesting. He gets into a lot of speculation and theories, and he's actually very well spoken. It's actually a pretty cool podcast. I found myself, because I went to just try to listen to a story, and then I found myself listening to the whole thing, to be honest with you. So, yeah. But again, nothing against this guy. I'm just asking questions, but like, you're just seeing things pop up in your house and you connect eyes and they disappear. And this, I just don't understand. Right. The Bledsoe family will talk about like just things moving on its own in the house, people getting shoved. There's nobody there, paranormal stuff, things you might associate with ghosts and things like that happening to that. Right. With the UFO. It's like, and they're claiming it's all the same. It's all one explanation. Right? It's like all these symptoms to one disease. So I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. Again, can't wait to read them. So again, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Apologize a little bit longer, but long clip, interesting stuff. Again, the Chris Bledsoe just has some amazing stuff. The whole Bledsoe family, they just have amazing stories. That's just the truth. I find them fascinating. They're well worth listening to. And again, apparently people found him credible. There was a lot of people looking into his stuff. Just saying. So, and he's very open and honest and willing to talk and answer questions, and I can appreciate that. So, anyway, much respect. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next video, Vetters. I'm Patrick with Vetted. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, every day's a gift. Peace.